Hello, my name is Jim Harrell, and this is the story of the Last Hurrah Garage. The story begins with the idea that I wanted to build a 1932 Ford 5-window coupe highboy. Now, that takes you back into time to cars that were built back in the 30s, obviously, but this car is a special car in the sense that it is a hot rod and it will have modern conveniences that obviously the original car in 1932 didn't have. There's a lot of ways to accomplish this. You can write somebody a check, give them an idea, and they produce the car for you. Or you can today, and that's part of the backbone of our story, is that you can go to a catalog and you can virtually buy all the pieces and the parts and put the car together to your liking. Now, it's not quite that easy, but a kitchen drawer full of tools won't get it done, but also you don't have to write that check to some of the big names in order to build a personalized car. One of the things about this car that gelled as we put the idea on paper was that I wanted an engine that would be a focal point to the concept of the 32 Ford Highboy. What we ended up doing was we chose the Ardent motor. What is an Ardent motor? Well, an Ardent motor is a product of a Ford flathead that was converted by Arcus Duntoff at the direction of while he was employed by Ford. The idea of that modification was to give those flatheads in the early 50s more horsepower, and these were applied for trucks. Well, it turned out that the conversion was way more expensive than the price point of trying to sell a truck with more horsepower. So there were about 200 sets of these heads made, and they have become obviously very valuable over the years. But there's a fellow in California, Don Ferguson, and he ended up picking up on this with his dad, and they really resurrected the Ardent concept and all the pieces and parts to make that flathead motor a hemispherical motor. And that's the key. It has a pair of hemispherical heads and turns the engine into what would be called a Hemi, not a Chrysler product, but a Ford product, and that is our feature of the car. To accomplish this goal, next we'll talk about the path to the end product being the completed 32 Ford Highboy. What we did was we put a plan together and we divided the project up into 10 elements. Those elements become the focal point of each of the events that is required in our way of looking at this project in order to complete the car. We have to have a frame. We have to have suspension, front and rear. We have to have the body. We need a motor, and we've talked about the Ardent motor. Transmission. In this case, we're putting an automatic behind it, which is not traditional or conventional, but when you get up in the lofty heights of our age, automatics are a lot better than sitting in traffic holding a clutch down. We have to have a radiator and a cooling system. We chose to use in the rear end a quick change made by Winters. It's a little V8 quick change. That is kind of a traditional element. We have to have wheels, and then we have to have a fuel system. Those are the 10 elements that we chose and formatted not only as the project elements to get to the end, but also to put our budget together and being able to come up with a number that was palatable to how we wanted to spend the money and what level of money we wanted to spend. In the old days, we didn't have catalogs like we've got now. We went to junkyards on Saturday. That was what Saturday was dedicated to go and salvage parts off of old cars and dream about modifying them or reshaping them or fixing them up and putting them into the recipe to get to the end of the car. And of course now you have catalogs, and that's part of a goal of our episodes in Last Hurrah Garage, and that is to show how you can go to a catalog and virtually with a recipe buy the pieces and the parts and virtually bolt them together with a minimum amount of modification and a minimum amount of welding, predominantly fitting them, maybe massaging them a little bit by grinding or in that way, and then painting them and then bolting them together. We hope that you enjoy the episodes forthcoming for the Last Hurrah Garage. These episodes have been put together in order to depict 42 years of my experience of building all kinds of cars and restoring cars. The 32 Ford Highboy that is the subject of our episodes is what we are building as the Last Hurrah. Therefore, welcome to the Last Hurrah Garage and hope you enjoy.